Today, Attorney General Jeff Sessions wouldn't say whether the Justice Department's decision to prepare charges against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange could lead to prosecution of journalists. On Thursday, Sessions admitted arresting Assange was a priority. Assange has been holed up, as you probably know, in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for years now, seeking to avoid an arrest warrant on rape allegations in Sweden. Here in the U.S., the Justice Department is taking issue with his WikiLeaks website, which has spilled U.S. secrets for years. The site first gained major attention during the Obama administration for publishing classified information stolen by the former Army intelligence analyst, now known as Chelsea Manning. Back then, no charges were brought as prosecutors struggled with whether WikiLeaks was protected under the First Amendment, but it seems they now have a path to prosecution, they believe, after investigators found what they believe was proof WikiLeaks helped former NSA analyst Edward Snowden disclose classified documents. Lots to discuss with journalist Glenn Greenwald of The Intercept and former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli. Glenn, if Julian Assange did more than just publish classified information, if he aided and abetted sources who stole classified information, which is apparently what the Justice Department wants to charge him with, does that change things, in your opinion?
First of all, it's a huge if. The Obama Justice Department said that they had searched for evidence that indicated that he did that and found none. But even if he did, there are all kinds of ways that journalists constantly work with their sources in order to get information that they think that will help them report on stories. And if we start criminalizing and turning into felonies, the collaboration that journalists frequently do with their sources in terms of reporting information, you would not only chill reporting in this country even more than it's already been chilled by the prosecution of sources, but you would enable the government, the Trump Justice Department, to routinely prosecute media outlets on this theory that they work with their sources, and that's what makes it so dangerous.
Mr. Attorney General, what about that? I mean, you hear Glenn's opinion. Do you think WikiLeaks is essentially a news organization? Do you think Julian Assange should be tried in a U.S. court?
Well, 2 points. First of all, I'm an open government person, but the fact of the matter is this isn't a whistleblower we're talking about. We're talking about the potential for leaking classified information, not leaking, hey, this is what they're going to do in the EPA budget. This is classified information. Everyone involved knows that's a serious felony and there's good reason for it. If Assange was involved in helping them do it or offering them ways to hide their tracks and so forth, essentially he became a conspirator as opposed to merely a news outlet that might publish materials that others decided to leak without his involvement. That's a big, big difference.
Mr. Attorney General, I do want to remind people what then candidate Trump said about WikiLeaks during the campaign. I just want to play this.
WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks.
By the way, did you see another one? Another one came in today. This WikiLeaks is like a treasure trove.
And by the way, WikiLeaks just came out with lots of really unbelievable things just minutes ago. In fact, I almost delayed this speech by about 2 hours. It's so interesting.
How do you square those comments with the president's own Justice Department now wanting to go after Assange?
Well, I don't really, but I don't think you have to. I mean, what we're talking about should be a dispassionate prosecutorial review done in a professional way. And you have considerations, elements of offenses that if the evidence exists, that a prosecutor reasonably believes can be proven to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt, showing that Assange was conspiring with people to take and then publish classified materials. Again, that's very different than any other form of government information that Glenn has referred to. Then it really doesn't matter what a candidate for president said. If you're going to follow the rule of law and if you're going to be tough in enforcing this law, then this is something that can reasonably be seen to be prosecuted.
The most important stories of the last few decades have involved the release of huge amounts of classified information, going from the Pentagon Papers through the Manning and WikiLeaks documents, through the Snowden reporting, through a lot of reporting that CNN has done this year on the highest levels of classified briefings. And in all of those cases, you have reporters talking to sources about how the information, the classified information, is going to be obtained, how it's going to be transmitted, and how it's going to be leaked. And I think we see from this discussion how easy it is, especially with a president who has said the U.S. media is the enemy of the people. If you accept this theory that a media outlet can be prosecuted because they collaborate with their sources, how easy that can then spill over into traditional media outlets and to investigative journalism of the type that we recognize as important and noble and that is done by journalists and sources every single day. And that's the real danger here.
I would just say that you know, we've talked about all this in the context of the media as if there are legal distinctions for the press as it relates to the First Amendment from others, but they're pretty narrow, they're pretty thin, and you know, I also don't think we should be giving them ridiculous levels of protection compared to just ordinary individuals as it relates to gathering, stealing, and disseminating classified information. Again, that's a huge difference here than an ordinary whistleblower or leaking case.
Glenn Greenwald, Attorney General Cuccinelli, appreciate both your perspectives. Thanks very much.
Good to be with you.
Thank you.
Coming up, Bill.